out to you, the Regular Joes.
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. Don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Irregular Joes podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
I'm Derryl DePriest.
And I'm Brian Mix.
Everybody in the house.
Everybody's here.
And as we record this, it's Todd's birthday. Happy birthday, Todd.
Happy birthday, Todd.
As you listen to
Todd,
this,
happy birthday.
He'll send him gifts and messages. Just reach out to us. We'll tell you where to mail them.
Yeah.
P.O. Box.
Yes. We'll probably have you send them to one of us, and then we'll give them to him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to give
when
my address
when you get
out,
around to it.
although some of you have my address out
Yeah.
there. But
Some
anyway,
of you.
happy birthday. Nice way to thank you for sharing your birthday. I asked if you wanted to do another day, and he's like, no.
No,
What a
I
better
want to
way to
hang out with you
spend
guys.
birthday.
So
There you go.
It was
Okay.
Todd's special request that we get the whole gang together for his birthday.
so
Someday when we're all retired, we'll do this in person every year.
That'll be awesome.
So being that we are all here, you know what that means. We have no plan. So we're just going to there's some stuff we want to talk about. Let's just jump in because Todd, right before we started recording, was listening to something. What were you listening to, Todd?
I was listening to Agatha. I was listening to the watching the teaser for Agatha All Along.
Has anyone else watched it?
I watched it.
No.
I watched it. My 2 words are, who cares? Like, what are they wasting film for on this?
Been a long time. Yeah.
It's been a long time, but you know this is going to find an audience. This is like there's a bunch of like creepy, spooky things like this that
It's coming out of, well, not even, it says Halloween, but it comes out September 18th.
Yeah, it said Halloween season.
Yeah,
That's what
That's
it
not
said.
Halloween season.
Well,
October
I'm
18th
guessing
maybe.
it's 6 episodes, maybe 8. So if it starts at the end of September, it'll be out.
Hobby
fully by
Lobby's
Halloween.
already putting out their Halloween
So's Costco, so's everybody.
stuff. Yeah.
But I don't feel like it connects to anything I care about, and I really don't get it. Why
I
are they
was just surprised based on the trailer that it seems like they are actually tying it into WandaVision, which is such a long time ago.
There's a thing there. But I tell you, one of my favorite Marvel TV things has been Werewolf by Night, which I loved.
I don't think this is anything like that.
If this has got those little tie-ins, but isn't really, that can be its own thing, good for them. Hopefully they'll do something like that. I got to think at this point they're starting to figure out everything can't be hardwired together. So we'll see.
Well,
It's got Aubrey Plaza in it, and we like Aubrey Plaza.
I feel like it's going to be Echo.
At the very least, it continues to hold the record, I believe, for the show with the most title changes. So this is the
and I think, I mean, they've never officially said it, but it sounded like the majority of it was reshot. Like they rethought this whole show.
Yeah. Well, there's people that were in it who are not in it. So
Right.
it's So
There's good money being spent. They could be spent somewhere else. I don't know.
yeah.
On Captain America Brave New World reshoots, that Barry, what are they up to?
I was going to talk about this. $375 million, and they're saying that the leaks that came out say it's basically a brand new movie after the reshoots.
How in a world where a top grossing live action movie makes maybe $200 million, do you spend that much money? Don't even.
Because they probably never set out to, but they had to reshoot most of the movie, and they basically made it over.
And at this point, they can't. I think they're probably hoping to break even on this thing. And
I don't see that.
I don't think they could cancel it. I think it's too critical.
No, I know,
what I'm
but
saying.
it's just
I'm saying
what they've got coming
walk
after.
away from it.
I think it's a linchpin to other
yeah.
stuff. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
No, it's the sunk cost fallacy that they're adhering to. They would have been better off to just can the other one, take a tax break, and start with a whole new thing. If the script was your problem, just start a whole new project rather than
they could
reshoot.
They're inserting brand new characters in at this stage of the game. Like they're redoing whole storylines.
So why does this sound vaguely familiar? Let's see. Was there a miniseries like 3 years ago where they did basically the same thing? Right. Yes.
They've done it.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Well, they also did it with Solo. And
no, I know, but I'm
Rogue
saying
One.
we're talking about some of the same characters here.
Anthony Mackie's a problem. I'm laying it down right here.
So Todd, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, sorry, not Falcon, the TV show, right? What was the name?
You're thinking Falcon and the Snowman with Timothy Hutton.
It is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was
Falcon and
the
the Winter Soldier. So are you saying that was slogged by huge production difficulties as well?
They went in and they basically shuffled the plot and tried to redo it around something else, shot additional stuff, put it back together. This is basically, as has been said, it was about a pandemic. Could not have been worse timing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So they tried to retain as much as they could, and they ended up with something that was unintelligible. So, they added a bunch of scenes that made sense.
Yeah,
and
a
it
lot
made
of
no
reshoots
sense
on that.
whatsoever. They radically changed a couple of characters. It's
Gotcha.
just, yeah.
That sounds like what's going on with Acolyte.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like, okay. So they were both, huge, massive reshoots around the Cap property. Wow.
That rarely is a good thing.
Yeah. I
I
kind of feel bad for Anthony Mackie. I don't blame it on him. I don't
blame him.
He's got to be like, shouldn't I be getting paid more if I'm going to do this 3 times? Because like I said, this is kind of the pattern.
Yeah.
I hope they fix it. The thing I've always said, and people, way back in the 80s, people were like, Heaven's Gate. Oh my God, how could you go see a movie that costs $100 million? And I'm like, at the time, you pay your $5 to go see a movie, whether it costs $10 or $1 zillion. It doesn't matter. So what do you care? So, but people get hung up on that stuff. I hope it's good. I really feel like, and I guess they feel, if this movie's not good, they're in big trouble, because this is sort of like
at this point, if they can break even, they will be thrilled.
I think it's
even if they lose money, but it sets them up in a good way for the next phase, then they'll probably be happy.
They can't. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, that's what I feel like too.
But I mean, like you said it, but the biggest movies aren't doing the box office even half the box office that they used to do. So to commit $375 million before marketing costs, like that's a $700 million movie now.
Well, that's the beauty part about
Everything
the MCU is they don't have to market it much.
Right.
They
do. But they do. Look how much they're marketing Deadpool.
Well,
how much they're marketing Deadpool.
That's one of them. I think you can't.
How bad they did on Ms. Marvel with no marketing whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. And
I don't think it's a double thing.
The Marvels
at those levels, though. Either
there was no marketing on that because of the writer's strike and all that, and there was no interviews, there was no anything, and they now say that contributed to how badly that did.
Like I've always say, you can't make $300 million with the B team. You need the A team, and these B level superheroes are not going to bring in the money.
We talked about it last episode on the Mission Impossible 8 budget, and that's like over $300 million.
Hey, that's Tom Cruise.
Brian,
though.
you say
Okay.
that
Yeah, I know it's Tom Cruise, Dave.
No one more C team than the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay,
and Iron Man was a C-level
property
when it started.
They could not sell.
That's right,
and that's why they could make a movie of him.
That's
because
right.
they would have sold the rights to Iron Man if they could have, but no one wanted him.
Captain America was, I would argue, a C-level character in the Marvel universe as well.
He wasn't Spider-Man, he wasn't X-Men, he wasn't Wolverine. Even the Fantastic Four sold freaking name war sold. Okay. And they,
but that was at a time when they turned those into A properties, but at a time where they didn't spend $375 million to make any of those movies.
Saying, Barry, but what I'm saying is what they do with it defines what it becomes. Okay. I was like, really? When they said Ant-Man, okay. And then they've done reasonably well with the Ant-Man films, not the third one, but I'm saying
two,
Jonathan Majors one was
but Guardians
yeah.
is the ultimate case of you take something that is solidly D-list that no one's ever heard of. Okay, now this has got some people connected to it. I think they're gonna struggle with this is not the Captain America that we know thing.
Yeah.
And
that's a big challenge for them. And maybe I hope all this money and all these supposed reshoots and new characters are to make it better. That usually is a sign of disaster, but maybe it's like this has to work and has to be good. They really, if this is like horrible, they're in for it could dismantle the rest of the freaking MCU.
The other problem that I have with this is it's when you replace a superhuman with a human and you give them the same name, okay, and a couple of good gimmicks, inevitably this guy is going to get the crap beat out of him, okay? So it's like, how do you do that? I mean, it's just like I said, we're going to have to see what they do. But
I wonder if he takes the super soldier stuff that was in the series.
And that's why it makes no sense to me that they came out of that series without doing that somehow, whether intentionally or
accidentally
or by
accident.
Right.
But but I'm saying, but the fact that he is Captain America by name, okay, and by having the mantle passed to him, but doesn't have the strength and doesn't have these other powers, but can fly because he's got a gadget and he's got the shield.
He shouldn't even be able to catch the shield. Any one of us would not be able to catch that shield if you threw it yourself.
That's what I'm saying. So they've got to, like I said, there's got to be something's got to happen here.
He's basically Batman.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Right? I mean, he's got gadgets, he's got a suit, and he's regular human.
Okay. Remember the elder black Captain America from the
the series.
I think he's going to get a blood transfusion from him.
Okay.
He's in the movie. Why is he in the movie?
Right. Was that guy in the Super Soldier program?
He was in the Super Soldier program.
Ah, good memory. Good flashback.
Carl Lumley, right?
Carl Lumley. I think he's going to get like a blood transfusion from him or something like that to save his life. There's going to be some kind of thing. And maybe they're going to get in a car crash together and his blood will. Wait a minute. They did that in She-Hulk. Okay.
She-Hulk origin story. Yeah.
But there's
I just hope that if they do anything with him, I hope they fully explain it, because most of the people seeing this movie will not have seen that show and won't know what.
Oh, I know that. And
or just
kind of recent.
You're going back to Shield headquarters. You had the super soldier vials in your pocket. You trip, fall, and it cuts you.
Again, like I said, they could have done an accident. They could have done it in a number of ways in that series, but that's going to be, I think, one of the biggest things is it's like, I don't know, like I said.
But if you just think about how many movies in the last 2 or 3 years that have cost $300 million and up, how many of them haven't performed?
Yeah. So we're gonna next year we're gonna have a new Iron Man film, but the guy's actually not gonna have armor. Okay.
Yeah.
He's just gonna
he's
gonna compete in a lot of marathons.
He just works out a lot.
Made of iron.
He works out a lot. He competes in marathon events, so he's an Iron Man. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they've got some hurdles. And
Barry brought up a really good point. Batman has no powers, yet it's all about the gadgets, and maybe Batman has so much going for it as a property that it can continue to be Batman. The challenge with this one, I think, is you're trying to replace a super powered Cap, whose part of his appeal was that super serum aspect, with somebody with no powers, and you just completely rely on gadgets, becoming a Batman, basically.
Plus, he had the super serum in him, but he was also It was so much about his personality too.
Right. It was also that. It was also
the character.
Who's watching The Boys right now?
I haven't started.
first
I'm only
episode.
on
No, yeah.
episode 3.
I haven't started. It
Okay, so Dave, we're in the same spot. So you saw the previous season, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you don't care. Anyways,
I saw the previous season.
Black Noir got killed. Okay, so they basically just have a guy in Black Noir suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Exactly.
and he doesn't have the abilities or power. He's just like there, standing in the background all the time, so no one has to ask where he
Has
went.
to ask. And he talks too much.
And he talks too
Talks,
much.
yeah.
Like, yeah. What's my motivation in this scene? It's like, just shut up, don't talk.
Well, someone mentioned Deadpool, and one of the things I mean, and I don't even know that it's paid media, but all the stuff, Deadpool is everywhere, and most of it is free advertising.
Deadpool was viral before the script was written. Okay.
Yeah.
They were so brilliant to do the like the tease, you want to be in the next Deadpool? Sure, why not? Okay. I mean, people have been looking forward to it since that little teaser. And all that was a commitment to be in the movie. So yeah, I would say this will determine if this doesn't do very well, there's no runway left.
Well, it's R-rated, and that's tricky. So, but I'll tell you this. I was like, oh, maybe I should try to get tickets.
Most of the audience for this are adults living in their mom's basement, but they're not actually children, Dave.
I know, but the problem is you see these crappy freaking In and Out 2 or whatever. It made $1 billion. Like, seriously? Because that's
Right.
people
But
bring
those
kids
are
with.
But
kids'
movies for kids are always going to do well, whether they're good or not.
Well, that's a
And
problem.
I will tell you, and I was talking to somebody at work with kids that they take them 2 and 3 times to see these same films, which I don't
Would
get.
your
at
parents
all.
ever do that? I had to see
No, my
Empire
parents
Strikes
never
Back
did.
with my lawn mowing money by myself. The second or times 2 through 7.
You probably weren't 8 though, but I'm saying,
I was 30.
yeah.
Oh, like when I saw Willow.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, I was 15. But anyway, interesting. So I did get tickets I know Todd doesn't ever have to get tickets in advance. Barry, I don't know if you tried or anyone
Not yet.
else, but I went to get tickets for Deadpool on maybe the 5th. Doesn't come out for 3 full weeks. And I go to the Alamo. If this is any indication, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday show was basically sold out.
Wow.
That's a pretty good sign in my little
that
tiny
is.
microcosm. Up to
By
the
the
point
way,
where
I'm
I'm
sure you
seeing it
heard-
someplace else. So I don't know if
I'm
anyone
sure you
else
heard
tried it.
Alamo was sold to Sony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Alamo, but I'm seeing it at the Bedford Playhouse because I couldn't get anything until Monday or Tuesday, and I don't want to wait that long.
Speaking of sold, Paramount got sold to
Yeah,
Skydance.
that's a mess. Not
Wow.
yet. It'll take another year. Skydance.
The good news is they at least the talk is good. The CEO is like, yeah, Star Trek's our number one property. We got to pour money into Star Trek.
Well,
It's the
that's
IP,
good.
it's
They owe
why
me
we
$2
bought
million,
Paramount.
so they better pay up.
Well,
We
when
gotta do
when
more
you
Star
look
Trek.
at Paramount Plus, there's nothing else there but Star Trek. I mean,
Yeah, well, he also
they have
talked about
anything?
They have
reinvigorating
these
Paramount Plus rather
second-rated
than
streaming show right now that they've canceled. So,
which is what?
evil. So,
Well, right. Have you caught up yet?
I am caught up. Wow.
So good.
Anyway.
Those witches.
Well, hang on. I want to talk about evil.
Well, go ahead.
Todd's
You're-
birthday.
Those witches, Barry. Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that what you were commenting on?
Yeah. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
my
That's
God.
what I was texting you about that day to see if
Yep.
that main witch and how she cast a spell on.
On Kristen.
I wanted to call her Katrina because that's her real name. What's her character's name?
Kristen.
Kristen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're not watching Evil, you should watch Evil.
You should watch Evil. Seriously. It is
So good.
You cannot find a bad review of the show. It's one of the best reviewed shows on TV. It's got between a 97 and 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
And like I said, it's the number 2 streaming show right now. It was last week. and they pulled the plug on it, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
But it got 4 seasons. It's not like
They knew that
seasons, but-
season 4 was the last season, so they're at
Okay.
least winding the story down.
Right, but the couple that are behind it, Michelle and King, whatever. Anyways, these people have done really great stuff, and they've been consistent showrunners. I don't see why Robert and Michelle King. I don't see why why you just don't run with it. It's just it's.
And since they made it an exclusive Paramount Plus streaming show, and there's a lot more cursing in it and stuff,
There's a lot more
it's
cursing in it.
It just made the storytelling even that much funnier and bizarre.
Yeah.
So which would you recommend I see first, Evil or Dark Matter?
Well,
Dark
Evil's
Matter's
4
easy.
seasons. Dark Matter, someone's going to ruin for you, and we probably did already. But
you listen to the shows.
No, I skipped that part.
Oh,
okay,
good.
good.
Dark Matter you could watch in a
Dark
in a
Matter's
week
quick.
or two.
It's
Or
dark-
if you're tired in
Dark
the day.
Matter is only like 9 episodes. Evil.
same
is-
thing. You should watch
I thought
Evil
it was 2
season.
seasons.
No, it's
No,
one
it's
season.
just 9
One
episodes.
season.
No, you're
Okay.
thinking there's an old Dark Matter.
There's an old Dark Matter show.
Don't watch that
Don't be
one.
watching that because it's a
Okay.
different thing. And this is based on a book. But yeah, take Evil, watch Evil, and just kind of savor it. But no, after season 1, right? It's season 1. It goes to
I thought
Paramount.
it was season 2. I thought this
season
third
2.
season.
2 seasons were
Yeah.
on CBS and are within CBS. They push the hell out of the boundaries of broadcast TV, and then they did 2 seasons with no restrictions. And yeah.
Yeah, it's been exceptionally good.
So
Is it too creepy that I won't like it? I
speaking
don't
of
like creepy
exceptionally
stuff.
good,
No, it's not
Okay.
that. It's
Is it
really
like
it's like the
Supernatural?
X-Files. It's like the X-Files if every episode of the X-Files was awesome.
yeah.
Because the X-Files were hit or miss. This is every episode
There's
is
some
great.
Dave, there's some weird ass shit going on that you have to be like, okay, is this someone's perception or is this actually happening? Or is it, but it's cool. It's really good. And I think you would actually like it. I do.
I
The main
almost don't
story
like.
thread that weaves through it is really messed up. Like
Oh, yeah.
really.
I don't like that sort of super horror with the devil and stuff. But I watched 15 years of Supernatural, and that
It's
was the
just
same
gonna
show
say,
every
yeah,
day.
And this is much very, very well done, extremely well produced. There's a ton of like nods to other things in
Demons.
there. And at one point there's just like a dead on send up of The Exorcist, like right down with shot by shot, the
That
guy
I don't know.
arriving and stuff. And there's some really good stuff in there. And again, these people are. Did you watch Barry? Did you watch just the end of the second to last episode, the making of thing?
Yes, I did. It was really good.
That was really interesting because you saw a lot there. And,
What's really good about it too, Dave, is that there's a character who's kind of like the science guy who just debunks everything. So it's not like you've got the priest character who is full on believes and is involved in all the mystical stuff. You've got the woman who's the psychologist who
Who's the
debunks some
skeptic.
things, and then what was that?
she's supposed to be the skeptic.
Yeah,
And
and then
then-
you've got the science guy who just tries to debunk everything, but there are points where he can't even explain what's
and
going on.
there's some like, and it's really good because they play off each other, and not everything is resolved because not everything can be resolved. It's not one of these things where everything is wrapped up neatly.
It's not Mr.
But then they'll
Crowley
do callbacks.
with a mask on.
What's
No.
that?
Scooby Doo, like
No
Scooby Doo.
Scooby-Doo endings.
No Scooby Doo endings, but Wally Shawn is in the was a character in a previous season, and now he's a regular, and it's really good. So
You know who's really good? Fanboy Collectibles.
he just did he gives them their assignments. He's the Monsignor, gives them their assignments, and he just did, should you choose to accept, and that's your
right.
mission, should you choose to accept it? And then they just stood there staring at him. He says, no, he says, you don't have a choice. That's a Mission Impossible thing. It was really funny. So,
All right.
Dave, what were you saying?
Fanboy Collectibles,
Fanboy Collectibles.
red and yellow Daredevil in stock.
Yes.
Pod Kryptonite.
Yep.
Barry Kryptonite, more Hot Toys clone
I
troopers.
know. I
ARC
feel like I
troopers.
need at least one of those clone troopers.
Yeah, more ARC troopers, more clone troopers, but statues and pops and sideshow and Daryl Kotobukiya.
High-end Hasbro Black Series.
Black Series. Yeah, we talked last week, they had the Acolyte helmet, the Dr.
Yeah.
Teeth or whatever his name is. But they got everything you need.
And the Electric Mayhem.
Yeah, not Dr. Teeth.
That
Darth
sold
Teeth.
out.
Definitely not Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, but
Like
Kylo
a-
Grin, come on,
like
get
a
his name right.
truncated aliens, like if you smashed
yeah, exactly.
the alien head back into a helmet.
But go online, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out. They have a store in Newtown, Connecticut. We've been there. We've met there. People go there. Mention us.
People go
That
there.
happens often. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Check those guys out. All the stuff you need. Okay.
So now that we're on the ad, can I say something?
I
Of course.
suppose.
Oh, okay.
birthday.
I actually talked to Troy this week, and I ordered to Paul. And one of the things he said was that people are having a hard time getting some of those EX06 figures because some of the lesser characters are very short runs, and they're the kind of thing that if you're interested, you've got to pre-order them because they're going for stupid money on eBay and a secondary market. And your window is when they go up for order. He also said
Interesting.
the order periods are sometimes very, very truncated. So it's not, if there's a character that you're interested in, particularly like I said, one of the lesser characters, you definitely want to jump on those.
We
Jump on
saw
that.
how
That's
hard
part
it
of the
was
ad.
to get the
Yep.
motion picture Kirk and Spock. Those came and
Yeah.
went super fast.
And those, yeah. So, but call them, tell them, ask them what you're looking for. They'll help you out.
Yeah.
All right. People have been traveling. Darryl, you've been all over the world or the country. Anything
Yep.
you want to fill us in on that you've done recently? I had nothing in mind, but I know you've been many places.
No, I've just been catching up on stuff the last couple of weeks before I head back out to California again in a couple of weeks, dealing with my my mom's estate sale and then the sale of her house. So my mom is fine. We moved her into assisted living, but they left behind a lifetime of collecting, and I cannot believe how much stuff was there.
Jeez. Now let me ask you this. Is that giving you any pause
Yes.
or thought about what you've got going on?
Yes.
Knowing what you're dealing with?
Yes, Todd and I talked with this a lot when we were together in Dallas. It's like I expressed some angst, like, man, I've really got to trim down the amount of stuff. And I think Todd, you said, I don't care what.
Yeah.
Let them deal with it. I'm gonna enjoy the stuff I have.
It's
So-
easier for Todd to say that. He doesn't have nearly what you have.
That's
that's
I don't
true.
have storage units.
So
Yeah.
I do want to get rid of a lot of stuff, and I have been trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. I just had a good number of things go up for auction in one of the auction, one of the well-known national auction houses. But concerningly, a good number of the things did not sell. They didn't even meet the minimum.
Oh.
And so I'm wondering if what kind of the future of just collecting stuff holds if you're not a super wealthy collector who can afford all the proper replicas.
Yeah, it's in the collector car market. Same thing's happening. A lot of cars are going unsold because they're not meeting the minimum. Something's up nationwide with
Wow.
with high price things. Yep.
So-
Interesting.
Something's going on. So the middle of the market kind of is being hollowed out right now.
Right.
You think during COVID, when no one was spending money on anything, any travel and any other things, prices got bumped up? Prices
Oh,
were-
yeah. They've said that.
And
on
then we're
everything.
seeing the inevitable
Big time.
settling from that, and we haven't found that.
Yeah, I think it depends on what it is. It's I don't think the real props have settled that much. Maybe a tiny bit, but other stuff maybe.
Definitely in the collectible guitar world, it's the same thing. Like the prices on guitars went through the roof during COVID, and now everything is either leveled off or the bottom is falling out in some cases on it.
Mm.
Hmm.
I gotta wonder, Barry, you sent us that text about the guy selling his entire collection of action figures. And it was-
He's got
Star Wars.
one of the greatest
That video
assembled
is crazy.
collections of any Star
That's
Wars. I mean, he's got
crazy
everything.
because
Jeff
like the
Jacob,
great-
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
Jeff
the
Jacobs.
collector.
It's talk about finding the bottom of the market when you're selling 5 of something. It's really going to level that out because how many buyers are there? And how high are they
That's a
gonna go?
good point. That's a tough thing to like. Unless that's the thing. This guy, and if you haven't seen, so this guy's selling a Star Wars collection of basically 3 3/4 inch, mostly, but he has. I don't want to know that this. I don't want to offend anyone on the call, but there are people like this who have every version of everything that,
And like 5 of them.
and like so even to the point where the bubbles were different. So he has that. I don't think there's more than a handful of people who care about that. So. That could be interesting.
I think there are very few collections like his that have been amassed, but there are enough people that care about each one of those pieces individually.
Yeah.
You're not going to get somebody that wants to take that entire collection
That's
and
true.
rebuild
That's true.
it. But
and who's
every
doing
one
it?
of those items is going to most likely going to find a home. But
Hakes is doing it. Hacks, whatever.
I think there's a number of people that care about that stuff, whether or not they're capable of ever amassing it. Is the other question. And I think that I can't, I don't know, Derryl, what do you think? You think there's 4 people like this guy out there? You think
No,
there's 1 billion people?
so I think there's a good number. So Star Wars has become an investment collectible. So this is, I think, very clear to me. It's both what's happening with high grade action figures as well as things like, when we were talking a couple months ago, maybe about the heritage auctions, it's like the Star Wars rookie card for Luke Skywalker is ridiculous money. And they call them rookie cards, even though that was just the first Luke card that was in the top set, stuff like that. These things, I think, have become investment vehicles, especially because you can grade them. So I think a lot of the stuff in his collection will do very well. But the thing that's most, I think, when I watched the video that you sent around, Barry, it's the Jeff Jacobs collection, is the thing that hit me most was, and I was texting you guys, it's like, look at the incredible basement that he built to display his collection.
Yeah.
That must have that's like $1 million basement. And to me, he's got as much of an investment in showing everything as he does the stuff itself.
The grading alone is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, right. You're right, Dave. The grading alone of each of those pieces is like minimum of $100 just for a figure now to get it graded and shipped or whatever. So you look at the investment, and then you also look at the investment to actually display it. And that's the point at my life where I really want to display everything. And if I can't have it on display or reasonably rotate it into display, within a couple of years, why do I really have it? And I think a lot of the people who would buy or who would invest in that collection are probably facing the same thing. Do I have adequate display space to really take on these really valuable things? And if so, I think the best stuff is going to go for top dollar again. But I think the middle of the market could be hollowed out here where, it's just a few people looking to fill needs in a collection that they already have going, and they're not really new collectors here.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are going to be fighting over the majority of things that he has.
It's interesting.
It's
I'm
very-
curious
Yeah,
why
but,
he's
but there are a
selling.
lot of people that collect carded Star Wars figures, and they're looking for that one elusive figure or that handful of elusive figures, and they're all going to be available in this auction. So then it becomes a question of, are there enough people with enough holes in their collection with enough money to,
So 1 Luke figure sells, but what about the other 7?
Yeah.
Well, I
but
think
each one is different. So there are people that are looking for each one of those various versions of
But then
Luke.
there's the common ones. What about all there's got to be 50% or more of that has got to be common stuff.
yeah, it's
But
common stuff.
with a high grade, though, is still worth good money.
But
I guess. It could be, there could be $100 figures and there could be $10,000 figures. So
I'm sure it is. But every one of those is different, to Barry's point. Like you look at the display and you see, 9 Luke Skywalkers. They're all taxonomy, as the taxonomy goes of, the way that fans categorize all of the Luke figures. There's country of origin. There's the mark is on the thigh or somewhere else. They're all different. And that's important to some people, whether, I'm sure every single thing he has is going to find a very appreciative collector. So, I mean, that's not a question. But
And when you're starting out collecting Star Wars figures, I think for a lot of people, the first goal is to just have one of each figure, and then people are have sort of met their goal, and then they decide that okay, I want one of each variation, and then they go after the variations, and then and maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but it feels like in the last 10 years, it's really become about this whole, what country of origin is this figure from? Which factory did it come from? Like, people are now at the point where
they're looking for more things to collect.
They're breaking it down into further and further, like, variations on top of variations, where the only thing that's different is the marking on the leg. The hair color is the same and the accessories are the same, but there's something that's different about it. And once you have everything, you either stop collecting or you look for ways of finding new things that you don't have. In this guy's loose figure collection,
I guess that's
he's got every version of every country of origin. Like, it's crazy.
That's what my question is with this guy is, had he climbed Everest and he just decided he was like, there were
holes in his collection, though, which is interesting.
There are holes in his collection, and he admitted that there are some things that he had before, but he sold them. I assume to like buy unobtainium things.
He had all of the 3-packs.
He had all the 3-packs,
and now he's bought back about half of them.
So
that's what I'm saying. But like, what happens that this guy just loses interest in this and he's ready?
Well, that's my question. Like, why sell? He didn't seem like
I'm saying
particularly
like,
old
he hasn't
guy.
publicly
now,
stated why he's getting
he
out.
What if
to
he's
jump
got,
into movie
God
props,
forbid, some
or
horrible
he wants to-
illness?
What if he wants to buy an airplane? Maybe his interests shift.
Yeah,
I have collector friends who, once they collect all of something, dump it and go on to something else.
That's what I'm saying about the Everest thing. It's like, has he hit the summit? He's got as high as he's going to get, and now he's lost interest.
But like Derryl said, though, it wasn't just amassing the collection. He put a fortune into his house and the way he was displaying it.
This is what I'm saying.
Maybe
what is it that happens that you devote this huge chunk of your life to this, and then like it's just I'll sell it and I'll do something else.
So I'll give you another.
It could be Mrs.
example.
Jacobs.
So one of the Van Eaton auctions last summer was the Joel McGee collection of Disneyland collectibles.
Yeah, saw that. That was that
series.
That series that was on.
The series, exactly. Yeah. They did the series, and Joel did say, and I can call him on a first name basis with Joel because I've met him and talked to him, but he did say he was kind of had that Everest moment. He's done. He's going into, I think, car racing is the next thing.
Right.
I think that's what he said he's going into. And he's just completely shifting his focus. He's taken all the resources that he is going to make, that he made from those auctions. And the second Joel McGee auction was just this, I think this last May. But, he's just shifting focus and he's putting all his passion and energy into something else. The passion isn't going away. He's just got a different thing that he really wants to dive into. And
so there was also another video that I didn't send to you guys, but there's another room in that basement where he's got every G.I. Joe toy.
Every Joe toy. And we don't know if those are going up for auction, but I
think it's all going up for auction, all of it. And that room had all the G.I. Joe stuff plus, I don't know, a dozen other toy lines that he had everything from. All the Indiana Jones toys, all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like that whole other wing in the basement.
That's what I'm
all
saying.
These other
how are you that person on Monday and not that person on Tuesday? How do you let that?
But Todd, you're familiar with the physical principle, the conservation of energy, right?
Yes, of course.
So in my experience, these super high end collectors who have means and energy and have put together things, that energy doesn't go away. It's just shifting focus. So fine, good for him. He kind of summited Everest. He's going to do something else that is amazing, I'm sure, because he has the means, he has the energy. It's not going to go away.
There also could be the practicality of where the hobby is right now. Now,
right.
especially Star Wars, it's
It's at a
certainly
peak.
at a high.
Yeah, it's at a
It
high.
may not stay at that high if we're
Right, yeah,
hearing
yeah.
other things like guitars and cars and all that stuff. So who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's got their finger on the pulse of that market, it would be somebody with a collection like his, right? So,
Yeah.
I keep going back to the 40-year-old virgin when she was coming over and he had to hide all his toys. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe
Maybe he's got a new
some of
wife.
that kind of story.
So I
You
want to know
never
what's
know.
going to happen with his basement, but maybe I shouldn't be worried because he's going to spend $1 million to retrofit his basement for his car, his coming car collection.
Car collection or his
and
guitar
what
collection.
I've heard, and again, I don't know if this is true because I don't know him, but I've heard from other people or another person, that he's a custom home builder. So all of that work that he did was probably done by him and his crew, and
Yeah.
so he can gut that and build it into a showroom for cars or
So he
whatever.
built it at a discount.
Or
Yeah.
you go.
pinball machines. We know people that collect pinball machines.
People collect
We
all kinds
do.
of stuff. It's funny. So Barry, I guess we're talking about stuff we want to talk about. If you're interested listening out there, that's fine. Barry sent us the image of there's toy artwork coming up for sale.
Yeah.
Not until the fall. I was looking to see if there's anything posted.
There's no gallery up yet or no,
No.
catalog yet.
But Heritage, we'll get back to this. Heritage has 3 auctions a week on so many different things. There's a constant amount. The amount of auctions they have for stuff is ridiculous. And that's the thing I sent you.
I get a catalog almost every week.
The 55th anniversary of the moon landing, there's an Apollo with Buzz Lightyear, Buzz Aldrin collection up for auction. And then there's G.I. Joe stuff in there.
I was just trying to figure out when you first sent it. I'm like, oh, is it signed? What's special?
It's
about
not
this?
signed though. That's
know,
the
it's
funny
not-
thing.
It's just a production Buzz Aldrin G.I. Joe figure.
That Buzz, but he owned and so Adam Darrow. I don't think you were on the email or Brian, but so Buzz Aldrin selling some of his own stuff like clothes and jackets. It's the G.I. Joe Buzz Aldrin figure, the Joe Con 99 shirt that he owned,
Staff
and
shirt.
a copy of the newsletter that Barry did the interview with him in, and some other stuff. It's funny. Barry, you really need to get that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm going to text to the group. I have the picture of me shaking Buzz Aldrin's hand, and he's wearing that shirt.
There you
Well,
go.
There you go. You got to
You
have
can-
that shirt.
I have him sign. I have him on the back of my picture. I think I have me having him sign. I think he's.
That's like me in the Greg Jean space helmet. You got a great story to go with that.
Well, but I have 3 signed Buzz Aldrin G.I. Joes. I don't know that I need an unsigned one.
Well,
Barry-
you probably can pick it up for $50. That's the thing.
I have 2 signed boxed figures, and that year Brian Savage gave me a loose one, and it was they called it a prototype, but there's nothing about it that's unique. And I had that thing for at least a year before I ever unzipped it and saw that the figure was actually signed by Buzz Aldrin on the back of the actual figure. It's just the uniform was covering it. I had no idea.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's crazy. There's so much stuff. And even Heritage just had a small Hollywood memorabilia auction that's coming up in a week or 2 or 3 weeks or something. They have some of your Disney posters, not yours, but those Disney posters
Yeah,
are
I
in
saw
that
they have
auction.
4 that I already have them.
Yeah, they've got a Michael York Sandman costume in there.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yes. You're going to bid
Yeah.
on that? It's already high.
No, I can't afford it. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got to pay for all of his travel.
but
Yeah.
but you get paid lavishly for your work at the Star Trek set experience.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah,
Lavishly in memories. But
Lavishly.
Brian's got what do you have? You said you have 20,000 Leagues poster, the Disney Silk
Brian-
I
Screen
am the
poster?
20,000 like Disney poster. Yeah,
Brian
and
has 20,000.
Daryl's recommended a place in California for me to send it to get it mounted on muslin.
I
so
would
get it
love
framed
just
up.
one of those, but the Haunted Mansion one is not in great shape.
Well, I think though, Dave, I've since prices are coming down probably on most of the posters or a lot of the posters. Probably not Haunted Mansion. Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
That's like
The
Haunted
one, and
Mansion has
the one in
crept
the
up
auction's
on
got a tear and some stuff in it, but
oh, that's
Yeah.
the one to get, Dave, because you send it to Daryl's guy and they put it on muslin and they can repair it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Poster
You get
Mountain.
it cheap, and you pay a couple $100 more to get it mounted.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on
and
it.
there you
But
got it.
Poster Mountain in LA. Now they're called LA Paper Arts. I think it's a much more cooler, trendy name. LA Paper Arts. They can do magic with tears. They'll make
That's
them
interesting.
disappear.
What do they linen back it and then
They'll linen
touch
back
up?
it, so they float it in
Yeah.
a liquid on linen, repair everything. They do a phenomenal job. I just got a poster back, and one of those happy things for collectors is just this week I went down, or last week, I took 4 Disneyland attraction posters down to get framed. So I'm going to get 4 new ones to
Wow.
rotate onto my walls. So I'm
Nice.
so excited about that.
nice. Yeah, I don't know what the prices are, but yeah, they had the monorail, which was pretty cool. That was a cool look. Then they had 2 that were not great.
The monorail is a stunning poster, and it goes for way cheaper, I think, than it should, because it's actually printed with there's a silver ink layer on it, and it's beautiful.
Oh, really?
It's a
I'll get it.
stunning poster. Not only is it mid-century, but you get the Matterhorn in there too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like a twofer, but then the silver ink, I think, just makes it. It's
Yeah,
just a
I put that
phenomenal
on my
poster.
watch list just to see. That would
Yeah.
be cool to have.
Yeah, and they've been
Um,
coming down in price. Like if you could get one for a couple thousand, that would be a bargain,
Yeah,
I think.
cool. What else? Oh, and Ryan, you were traveling. You went to Wonderfest, right?
Wonderfest. Yeah.
Wonderfest Con, Uncle Fester Con,
Wonderfest in Louisville. Yes.
which we all may try to get to next year.
I
Next
need
year.
to go next year. I know I
Yeah.
said that last year, but I
Yeah,
really
Barry,
need it this
you
time.
got the model work is incredible. And
And thank you. You picked up something for me, which I have not seen
Yeah.
yet, but I'm looking forward to getting that and building it.
that's the danger of that show is the dealer's room. Is there's so much incredible stuff there, and the 3D printing and resin guys have just gone crazy with these designs, and the sculpts are incredible.
So these guys are 3D modeling and now resin printing stuff. Is that
Right.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's funny because this con's been around for, I don't know how long.
Oh,
On the
20 years, long time.
When you've been going for a while, probably, or you've
Probably
been
5 years. Yeah.
or what were they doing before that? There was always resin stuff. So
Oh,
So they
it was
would-
just
garage
model
kits.
kits. It's
Yeah.
It was just
still
cast
they do a giant model building contest and show, which is the tables are 100 feet long, and there's got to be 7 of them packed with models, and still the bulk of them are model kits that people are building and painting.
Wow.
yeah,
The custom stuff's about 10-15%, and there's about 30-40% resin 3D printed stuff, but it's still a lot of model kits.
that's
So
interesting.
Brian,
It's nice how
is that the dealer's room, or is that the like juried competition for
There's
model
2
building?
rooms. The dealer's room is separate from the juried model contest,
Okay.
and the dealer's room is also pretty big. It's not Comic-Con big, but it's a good sized dealer's room. But you could do it. You could do the whole dealer's room in a day or less easily.
Well,
as
that's
long as
pretty
you-
good. I like dealer's rooms. But what you were talking about is 700 feet of just juried
Yes.
entries into the model.
Yes, and just packed with model kits.
Sorry,
Okay.
Dave. I
Different
interrupted. you.
No,
Custom
no.
painted stuff.
I just wanted us to talk about it. I think it's cool. But it's interesting how these hobbies evolve. You know, it was people building model kits or probably people sculpting stuff in whether it was clay or whatever and making molds and then selling, you know, I have a Sandman kit that I got 20 years ago that was somebody made in
Yeah,
a
but most of
garage.
those, when people were doing those garage kits, they would be lucky if they could get 20 kits out of a mold before it was useless. Now with 3D printing,
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what's great about these
Yeah.
hobbies, that they just evolve and, you know, we're doing all kinds of stuff.
And some of the custom work for starships, there'll be a dozen custom starships from Star Trek, and there'll be there were 4 custom spinners, and these are 16, 18-inch cars.
Nice.
Custom spinners from Blade Runner, and yeah, it's stunning.
Well, I know there was a group that took the most recent version of the Galileo shuttle, and they gave it to a number of builders and said, make it into something other than the Galileo shuttle.
Right. They do that every
And
year. Yeah, that's a
the display
that's Bill
was
George runs
like
that contest. Yeah.
somebody made one into like a Gilligan's Island kind of ship with like bamboo,
Oh,
and
that's
somebody
cool.
made it into shuttle, like the Tidarium shuttle, and somebody made a Jaws boat out of like the crazy things that people got super creative with.
Lost in Space space pod version of the DLAO shuttle. Yeah, there were.
Well, and somebody turned it into the Battlestar Galactica shuttle. That one was incredible. That was actually Jason Eaton. I actually messaged him afterwards.
Oh, was it really?
Like, that was amazing. Yeah, that was
cool.
super cool.
So
I
inspiring.
love the idea of the Gilligan's Island one where it's made of bamboo. That's just awesome.
It was great. Yeah, it was so cool.
It's very inspiring show. It really is. And you'll run into people there, the professionals who work in the business are there all the time. You run into them and just chat them up because it's a very, very leveled show. Everybody's there for the same reasons.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And there is a decent amount of coverage on Tested, Adam Savage channel. There's at least 6 videos.
Yeah, Norm was there and he did a ton of videos.
Yeah.
All right, so if we're talking about models, I'm going to jump in with my story here.
Okay.
So one of the very first models I built when I got back into model building was this Allosaurus dinosaur. It's a prehistoric scenes Aurora kit from the 70s. And it came out and it originally had a base to it, a 2-part base. And then when they reissued it in the 70s, they didn't include the base. And the version that I ended up buying didn't have the base. So I've always wanted the base, but I never had it. Flash forward to this year, they reissue the prehistoric scenes saber-tooth tiger, which I talked about, I think, last week. And apparently when they ran the molds for that, the base for the Allosaurus was in that mold.
It started popping out.
Atlantis Models printed all of these bases that they couldn't sell because they don't have the tools for the Allosaurus. And they were posting pictures of it on their Facebook page even. And I was messaging them saying, I hope you're going to sell those because there's a ton of people that want that base. And they never responded. So anyway, I'm on eBay 2 weeks ago and I see somebody selling these bases, these reproduced. I mean, that's hard to even call them reproduced because they're literally out of the original mold, right? But so, and I see it's only $12. So I'm like, oh, I've got to buy it. Now I'm finally going to get one. So I bid on it, or it was buy it now. I didn't even have to bid on it. And I won it. And then I saw that the guy was local on Long Island and he offered local pickup. And he was like 10 minutes from my office. So I said, great, I'm going to go pick it up. So I messaged the guy and he says, yep, you can come over. And I told him what day I was going to come over. And he said, great. Told him what time. And he said, just call me before you come. And he sends me his phone number. I said, okay. So then that day I texted him just to make sure. I messaged him through eBay to say, I'm still good for me to come. And he said, yeah, you just got to call me before you come. And you can't text me because my phone doesn't get texts. I said, okay, I'll call you. So I call him before I go. And he says, yep, come on over. And it's 10 minutes from my office. And I get there. And he says to me when I'm on the phone with him, you're going to pull up in front of the house. You're going to walk up to the driveway. The gates are going to open up. And I'll be in the back in the garage. I'm like, okay, this sounds a little shady, but whatever. You look like you're going to say something. Yeah, this is how every horror movie
and
starts.
then he
right?
said,
Yep.
he said, in the mailbox there's a bucket of lotion. Put the lotion
Put the
on.
lotion on your skin before you come in. Yeah.
So I pull up, and of course nobody knows where I am. So like, if I were to have been murdered, nobody would have had any idea where I was. So I pull up and I walk up the driveway, and sure enough,
You didn't
these two
describe.
massive gates.
Is this like a haunted house looking, thing, or
Nope,
you get
it's a
feeling?
residential street, and it's a very, very normal looking house.
That's exactly where they get you.
Do you have a bad
The
feeling
gate
about
starts
this?
to open.
Hi, I'm Barry. People know I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. I should have messaged somebody with the address of where I went. So the massive gates on the driveway open up, and I walk through, and there's a very large garage on the back of the property, like 2-story garage with 2 big bays, and there's trucks everywhere. So I'm looking around where to go, and I hear this guy go, Barry, and I said, yeah, and I hear his voice, and I follow it around, and I see this like 70-something-year-old guy. So I'm like already feeling like, all right, if something bad goes down, I can take the guy.
You may not. What if he was a Navy SEAL?
So then he goes, well, come on inside. So I'm like, all right, God, now I'm going inside this building. So I go in, and it's a garage filled with stuff, including like, I don't know, a 20-foot Godzilla that's in the garage. and I can see model kits up to the second story rafters everywhere. And he hands me the base, and I'm like, great. And I'm getting ready to leave. He goes, a lot of times when people come over, I show them my collection. Do you want to see my collection? I'm like, okay.
Of human
So
brains.
then he goes, come downstairs. And I'm like, there's a downstairs in this garage. And now I'm going down a staircase in the back of this building. And I'm like, all right, this is probably stupid. Like,
This
I
is
don't
my
know.
human head collection. Yeah.
Yeah. And as I'm going down the stairs, there's model kits everywhere, like beautifully painted model kits. And the guy's wearing a Chiller t-shirt, like a Chiller Theater convention shirt. Anyway, make a long story short, I get downstairs, and this guy literally has every Aurora model kit ever produced
Yeah.
in the original boxes
Nice.
and built up and professionally painted in displays in the basement of his garage.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's got store displays from the 60s and 70s,
Ooh.
like dozens of them. And he's got a full-size B9 robot down there.
Oh,
And
nice.
he tells me in his house he's got a Robbie and what else?
You
Oh,
sure
and
you
then-
wanted at Brian's house? It sounds like the garage.
This was crazy, right? And then he says he's got a full-size alien in the main house. So it turns out the guy's name is Phil Seprano. He's calls himself the Aurora King.
Ooh.
He had everything. I mean, it was. I saw model kits I never even knew existed. There was,
Wow.
and I'll say this: there was no rhyme or reason to how anything was displayed. It was just like, as I walked around, eventually I realized, oh my god! And I even said to him, I go, "Is this every Aurora model kit ever made?" He's like, "Yeah, I have all of them." So on the backs of the reissued boxes of the model kits that they're making now, all the stuff that's pictured on the back of the boxes is from his collection.
Oh, really?
Oh,
He's got an in with the guys at Atlantis Models, and that's why he's
Wow.
got all these dinosaur bases to sell on eBay for $12.
Wow.
Well, this is a good guy. This is a good guy to know, Barry.
Yeah,
Oh
totally.
yeah, no, it was amazing. So anyway, I bought the base. It started out as that color, and I finished it yesterday.
Love
It's
it.
got a volcano on it. So anyway, and now I finally have the base to go along with my Allosaurus dinosaur. But when I came home and I told my wife the story, she's like, please don't ever do that again.
You should make
So-
friends with this guy. Does he sell model kits? I mean, yeah.
It didn't
So-
seem like he sells much of anything because
Oh, no.
he
He
had
sells
it seemed like
bases
he had everything he ever bought.
$12 at a time. That's what.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I would have gladly paid more than $12
Local-
just to get this base.
local pickup only. He was thrilled that you decided to do a local pickup so he could come and show you his.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
seemed very, very eager to show me his collection, which was
But
very
this-
cool of him. But it was a little, just the whole thing was just, as I kept going further and further into this thing, I started to feel weird until I realized that he actually had a big collection to show me. So
Yeah.
He's a world class collector. I mean, what an epic
Yeah.
day. The sad day, the sad news must be that, it was a work day, and obviously you lost your job after not returning because you were there for 12 hours.
no, I went after work. It was all on the up and up. Yeah, it
Gotcha.
was some pretty amazing stuff. And there's videos
That's
on YouTube.
magic.
I found some videos that like he does a tour on YouTube of his collection.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
there's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
It was just incredible.
What a magic day. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I immediately called our friend Scott Beckman afterwards. I'm like, you are not going to believe what I just saw, because he's all over that stuff. He loves that stuff. So anyway, I didn't fully tell you that story via text. I just said I have a story to tell. So
I'm glad
No,
you
that's cool.
saved it for the podcast. That's amazing.
I did. I was saving it for you
Great
guys.
story.
And we're glad you made it out alive.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that was the important thing. I survived to tell the tale.
That's cool. Speaking of collections, and I know I've been talking to these guys. I have and I don't know when it started, but we're also cleaning out people's houses and stuff. And I'm like, the one thing I have to attack is my attic. And I've talked about it on the show for probably 3 years. I started it last year, sold a bunch of stuff, but
But we've been talking about what's in your attic since this show started, though.
Yes, I have. It's true. But I sold a lot.
The Playmate Star Trek toys were the first thing we talked about.
Yeah. But I finally, so when I moved into this house 18 years ago from the other house, I have stuff that's been in boxes that I've never even opened. So this last weekend, I opened the last 4 boxes of stuff that I have not even known what was in there. So I have cleared out all that stuff. I'm at the point where my son Mark has more stuff in the attic than I do, which is a miracle.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
great. Congratulations.
But one of the things I found that I don't think I ever talked about on the show was one of the first props I ever built, which was this wooden phaser, which was not complete. I actually at some point
looks very much like a tech manual phaser to me.
Oh, it's totally a tech manual.
Yeah.
So there's Velcro. I put Velcro on later, but there's the phaser one.
Oh yeah.
Which has got a Lego button, the speaker grill from a tape recorder. The side is metal solder. This is metal solder I put in
Nice.
here.
That's good.
And then some rhinestone or something that I have a nail through, and then this the meter. I'll show a picture of this that I took right out of the Starfleet technical manual. So I was very happy to find this.
Yeah,
and then this was made out of a 2x4. At one point, I had a tip on it, and then I don't know what happened to it.
What age was this? How old were you when you made this?
34.
I had to be 10. I was probably 10.
10, really?
75, 76, 10, 11. Yeah.
Wow.
I got that technical one. 75 to 79, Star Trek was like everything.
Oh, yeah. That's
impressive.
Yep.
I think this is pretty good for a 10, 11-year-old.
That is great. I got to say, I did exactly the same thing, and the solder thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
I did silver paint. I made a mess.
Yeah. But this thing, I know I repainted this probably like 20, 30 years ago. But
your skills were so good. When I was, I don't know, 11 or 12, I was making Battlestar Galactica wood things in wood shop, and they were so crude compared to that. I mean,
not to pat myself on the back, but there wasn't a power tool in sight. I don't even remember how I made this. I think it was a lot of sanding and
Did you whittle that?
Cutting with a hacksaw.
Hacksaw, yeah.
Actually, I think it was a Pinewood Derby car. I can see the shape.
Yeah, it looks definitely. This was my Pinewood Derby. I took the wheels off.
Shiv and a block of wood.
Yeah,
it's like
you just kept going
out of Shawshank Redemption.
Well, he needed something to do while he was in juvie.
Yeah,
That's fantastic, Dave. I'm glad.
It's funny, and I do remember we had our orange kitchen. In the 70s, we had an orange kitchen and brown appliances. And I remember the oven went on the fritz and they replaced the oven. And when they did it, they took out the brown enamel oven. I kept parts of it. Like the back was galvanized metal, and I remember cutting ninja stars out of it. But anyway, they took out some 2x4s because it was a small oven and they put a bigger oven. This is one of the 2x4s that was in the original house holding the oven up. And I cut it from that piece of wood.
Wow.
I distinctly remember that, which is funny.
You need to be buried with that one, Dave. That's
amazing. I just recently made a purchase.
Oh, look at that.
Huh.
We're seeing a B9
robot.
B9
robot.
We're watching Brian with his accordion.
There's a guy in the B9 Robot Builders Club that makes these out of silicon.
Oh,
nice.
So this is a colored silicon B9 robot arm.
Really?
So,
are yours not holding up?
The ones I have are made of some kind of hard rubber.
Yeah.
And they don't compress properly.
Mm.
And I want to do an articulated arm.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is going to be part of my Lost in Space robot upgrade.
Nice.
Silicon arms. He makes silicon legs too, which are obviously expensive.
I will say this: the B9 that I saw at this guy's house was no way near the quality of yours.
Well, thank you. I'm guessing he bought Fred Barton stuff, because usually when guys say they have a Robbie and a B9 and a Gort, it's like, oh, Fred Barton. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, his didn't light up or had no like features to it. It was just physically there, but it was, size wise, it's impressive, but quality wise, maybe not so much. So I had sent Dave and Todd this, and I can send you guys a link if you want to see it, but there's a YouTube video that they took Star Trek V and added a laugh track to it. Are they like? It's not the whole movie. It's like
Really?
15 minutes.
It's good.
It's
I gotta
brilliant.
say, I watched a lot more of this than I expected to. It's such a bad
It's
film.
like all the
Oh my
camping
God.
scenes
it
and
is
all the.
so, the laugh track works perfectly.
Oh
And the
man.
applause when like Spock shows up and the
It's so funny. I'll send you the link, Brian. But
Yeah,
just Google Star
it is
Trek
brilliant,
5 with
Barry.
laugh
And
track.
I gotta say, I watched. I was like, yeah, okay, this is going to be a one joke thing, and it was funny throughout. The timing was perfect, and it just
It's very well done. I mean, it felt like it was a sitcom. It
No,
really
that's funny.
did.
it makes the movie palatable.
Well, and it's just a couple of scenes which make there's just enough to watch that where I never got tired of the joke, but not so much that it went on for too long.
Let's check that out.
Todd, there's Jonathan Frakes has wrapped the new Star Trek show, and he's starting a new show called Arthur C. Clarke's Venus Prime. Now, I thought I read every Arthur C. Clarke book there was, and I don't recognize that one. Does it ring a bell with you? Venus Prime?
It's a short story.
Oh, it's short stories.
I think it's from. Is it? No, it's not from. It's not from Tales of the White Heart. It's Yeah, I think it's a short story.
He's going to start shooting it late 2024. Doesn't say how many episodes.
He's directing it?
He's directing it, yeah.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Anything Arthur C. Clarke, I'm on the hook for. That's awesome.
Rendezvous with Rama is going to be really interesting to see how they do that. Have we talked about that on the show before?
No.
No, it's they're making a movie of Rendezvous with Rama. And Rendezvous with Rama, great premise. A giant cylinder is flying through our solar system. And they figure out it's spinning and it's hollow. So there's an entire world inside this giant cylinder. It's like a giant ring world, enclosed cylinder. But it's only going to be in our solar system for a week. So they've got to fly a spaceship to it, get in it, figure out what it is, and get out, or they're stuck in it forever.
Oh, geez.
And that's the premise. So it's a really cool premise. But in the book, there's nothing inside but a world. The people are all asleep. They don't wake up till the second book. So I don't know if there's going to be a second movie or what, but it's they've been trying to make it for decades. And cool premise. I don't know how good of a job they're going to do with it.
Yeah, he
What's it
totally
called
got
again,
the
Brian?
idea from the Star Trek episode. No, wait, it was the other way around. Yep. So
That's cool. Interesting.
Dyson Sphere, right? There was that episode with the Dyson Sphere. Which
Yeah,
sounds
like
similar.
that. Yeah.
I forgot your name. Todd, it's only your birthday. You did, when we did the commercial, you did show us that you did get something from Fanboy. And what is that?
So I got the yellow and red Daredevil, which I like, which was from She-Hulk.
Yes.
And as she put it, the mustard and ketchup theme.
Yeah, which makes it sound gross.
Makes
But-
it sound gross. But it's kind of homage to the original Daredevil costume.
Yeah.
It was yellow and red, explained subsequently by the fact that he is blind. But it's really well done. This is not a reissue of the previous figure. This is a completely new design. It's really, really well done. It's got a Charlie Cox head sculpt, which the other didn't have. The face sculpt in this is better. The eyes are too close together in the original, and this works better. But the other thing with it, the suit is also looser, so you can actually pose it, whereas the other one is almost unposable because the suit is really skin tight. But there's one other thing that's really unique about this figure, different than every other Hot Toys figure that I've purchased, or at least every Marvel Hot Toys figure I've purchased so far. The boots come off. And
Like
the boots
completely off, and there's a foot inside?
Well, here's the thing. It's very much like a G.I. Joe boot. Okay. So they're shaped like an actual boot, and they come off like an actual boot. However, inside there's a sculpted foot made of clear plastic.
Huh.
That's
I have
weird.
a theory Okay. So I have a theory on this. Now, why would for one thing, the nice thing is they're soft and they're one piece. So they bend really well and they hold the position really well. So it may be the direction they're moving in because they've gone like with 2-piece things with a split at the ankle. Do you remember the scene in She-Hulk where he's leaving in the morning? He's doing the walk of shame and he's carrying his boots. Okay. I think Marvel didn't go for that. I think they designed this figure away around having removable boots and bare feet. And Marvel said, yeah, no.
That's funny.
And so he's got clear plastic feet.
That's odd. That's an odd choice.
Remove,
That's
you
interesting.
can still remove the boots. Otherwise, I think we're going to see more like this. And it's great because, like I said, they are much more flexible than the other boots and they look better.
Wow.
They probably have them
Look
let them
like
stand better.
The
That's
better
cool.
1/6 scale action, military figure boots, like when Dragon had it down really well and whatnot. And I've done some posing with it and you can even like kind of bend the toes a little bit and it's, it's really, but it's interesting. It's curious that it shows up on this. And like I said, that there is a clear plastic foot, like the Mike Power prototype, inside there. And, but really, really great figure. And, I'm super pleased with it to add it to my, Daredevil collection. Hopefully next year I'll have a 4th Daredevil to add to the well, I won't have it next year, but I hope
I was going to say you order it next year.
I'll order it next year and hopefully get it at some point. But again, really great. And if you were thinking it's the same, it's just a tweak of the original thing. No, it's a completely new sculpt. The padding's different. The armoring is different, and they definitely improved on the fit. It's a lot more fight worthy. So, anyways, yeah, that's
Cool.
kind of my quasi what's in the box this week.
Darryl, you have some words of wisdom for everybody.
Yeah, maybe final words of wisdom for our vast listening audience, and it's something. So I ordered something off, I think it had on Facebook that I don't think anyone's ever talked about on the show before, but it's a thing called a book nook. And have you guys ever seen?
I've seen the commercials for it. Oh yeah,
ordered book nooks. So
well, there's a commercial. I've seen people make them.
I see the ads on Facebook constantly.
So it's super cool. I have to admit it's something very appealing because it's a miniature world and we're all into miniatures.
Yeah.
Right. And well, maybe Brian, you're more into 1-to-1 scale stuff, but the rest of us, at least, we've been into 1/6 scale worlds and 1/18 scale worlds in some cases. So the idea of a book nook is a slice that sits amongst the books on your bookshelf that is a glimpse into a world. And they're often elaborately created and lighted, and they're very cool. So you can order these off eBay. And I saw an ad, or off just about any platform, I've learned. So I saw an ad on Facebook for one called Flynn's Arcade Book Nook.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I looked at the pictures. It was unbelievable. It looked like an arcade that goes back and then turns a corner, so, but it's filled with arcade machines. And I thought, wow, what a cool nod to Tron and arcade machines. So my first job really was in the arcade industry with video games. So I thought, this is amazing. But it was only $30 and I ordered it. And come to find out that the real Flynn's Arcade that the pictures are taken from is something that somebody created on Etsy that you can still order. It's $300.
Yeah, there's a lot of people making them with glow forges and stuff and laser cutters and all that. Yeah.
What I actually got was 6 pieces of crappily printed material that is absolutely nothing like the pictures I got.
No. Yeah.
Total ripoff. And I think the main thing I'm concerned about is, and I can't find the record of the purchase that was on my credit card, but I'm like, oh no, did they really just steal my credit card? Right on here on Facebook, because this is like so shamelessly different than what was advertised that I'm wondering what the scam was. Am I just stupid? And the business is just based on people being so ashamed and it's not worth the hassle to try and get your money back. And it came from Romania.
Oh,
and
boy.
the most impressive thing was I got 15 updates on the shipping from Romania
Yeah.
at every stage along the thing. It's cleared customs in Romania. It's on the way to the destination. But anyway, don't buy anything you see on a Facebook Book Nook ad, especially if it's too cheap to believe. I was fully prepared to put it together myself, but this is nothing. There's no arcade machines here. It's just junk.
You guys remember my Iron Man mask, right? Remember that the thing I ordered on Facebook, which was that Halloween mask, even though it was in the commercial it was the flip up version.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, this is a common Facebook thing. It's like, don't buy things on Facebook.
Facebook scam. Don't buy it on Facebook. But after looking at the $300 one on Etsy, I'm actually tempted because it's amazing. I mean, this thing is really good, and I want that little Book Nook with arcade games.
Yeah, I like the
cool.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea one with the little door that opens up and it's a little submarine on the inside. But I know I figured it was probably printed and you cut in laser cut or something like that. You assemble it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people making that stuff. There's fairy things and
fairy things. It's related to that kind of stuff
and all that stuff. Yours, I'm worried that yours is from Romania. It may be freeze dried Dracula. Just don't pour any blood on it because they may come to life.
Well, I'm glad you stopped me because I was just about to.
Yeah.
I was going to try cow's blood or puppy's blood before I.
What could go wrong?
He's desiccated, and then he just needs to be re-energized with some human blood. So be careful about. So there's a word of wisdom. Watch out for those Facebook things. Yeah, there's a ton of those scams.
Just bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's horrible. Anyway,
I'll burn it in the fire
last
pit.
thing about on the subject of Facebook. So I went on Facebook last week because I had a party on July 4th that at a friend's house, and I had to get directions, and it was my first time in 16 months. So anyone listening who has reached out to me on Facebook in the last 16 months, I didn't see it until July 4th. So I will get back to you. I've been very rude to a lot of people, but like I said, I meant to be off for a year, and it ended up being a lot longer than that. So,
well, if people are
a lot of comments about the show, and whatnot, and I do appreciate that, but I just didn't see it. So,
anything important we try to forward your way, or
when Dave and I see messages about the show, we try to tell you about them. But
I appreciate that because I don't expect my tenure will be long lived. I think I'm going to answer all the messages I received and apologize and then go back off again.
Well, why on earth would you go back on just before an election? That's like the worst.
Well, that's what I'm
idea.
saying. I can't imagine going back, Bob. But I did. I actually reconnected with a friend of mine who went in the military not long after 9/11 and has since retired and moved back to the area. And I ended up getting to see him on the 4th, which was terrific. But he sent me the invitation on Facebook, so I needed his address and whatnot. So
interesting. But, I don't know if you guys, we've all experienced it. I look at Instagram mostly, but there isn't a single thing you search for that you don't get 10 of the same. You look for T-shirts, you get 10 ads for T-shirts. There's a way to turn that off, and I was able to do that. Basically, it said stop Google from forwarding your searches to something. There's a way that there's a point you to a way to do it, but my feed has gotten so much better because it's not like, you look for, I need to buy motor oil, and then you get 1,000 motor oil. Like anything you buy, you get all these ads, but I was able to turn it off.
My favorite is when you go online, you buy something and then you get offers for a better deal after you bought it.
Yeah.
They really need to perfect that. So,
well, and I don't know if you guys have this, but my wife will search for something and then all I see
absolutely
next day is stuff that she was searching for.
Because you're connected. Yeah. That's why I search for
address.
search for see-through negligees and stuff, and it pops
see,
up.
It's all sport deals on sports bras. So
yeah. So anyway, on that interesting note, but just be aware of Facebook. Thank you guys for joining us. Happy birthday, Todd! Again,
happy birthday, Todd!
Hey, thanks for spending my birthday with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening.
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 Happy birthday, Todd.